Well, maybe we should. Well, we're not going to stream.
We're not
so
going
it's
to.
fine.
We're not going to test it. Although we did find some footage of you on the camera, didn't we?
What? I need to. You know what I need to do?
On the GoPro.
Because I feel like. I feel like even last week I still kept touching. I was sitting there, wasn't I? And I just still kept touching that.
Do you like if you see something and you've never touched it before, do you need to touch it?
No, I'm not a weirdo.
To know what it feels
I just
like.
meant, sorry, anyone who does that, you're not weirdos. We're all weirdos.
No, but you know
It's
when
about
people
finding a compatible weirdo for you. That's a different pod. I don't need to touch.
I don't want to do.
I'm a very tactile person.
Yeah,
Inappropriate. I am a very tactile person. If I feel safe, please don't touch me if you see me.
This is just. But you do this with your hand a lot.
Do I? Mm-hmm. Probably to keep people away.
When you like set stuff out. You're like, I
haven't actually set up my mic properly. Oh, what's up there?
Oh no, it's
performance issues.
It lives, isn't it?
My mic's got perform. Does it not even come up there? Oh, there you go. Right in my face. Right, okay. I'm ready to record. I'm going to sit on my hands. I'm not sure about this skirt. Like, the top bit's a bit big. Oh, let me just...
Oh.
This is great content.
Look at that.
For anyone watching.
It is. You're also wearing, what is it?
England.
New shirt.
This is the new England women's away.
I think it is.
Third. I think it's the away.
Does that mean?
Anyone who knows anything about football
is
in the chat, tell me what this shirt is.
But is white first?
White's home. Come on, I know that much.
No, but I always thought.
I don't know much.
Surely they wouldn't.
I know. I love you. That sounded like, what was that? Orville and was it Orville? Was that the anyway?
Oh, what the ventriloquist?
Yeah, we'll move on.
But isn't it always like an old thing? Doesn't it always go like white, red, blue? What I was thinking, like it would be weird for England to have a blue kit before they had a red one.
Oh, you make a very good point.
Because St George's flag doesn't have blue in it.
You make a very good point, and there's lots of wires down there. I think this is maybe the third shirt in that case. Then,
yeah,
I'm glad I'm here
still
discussing football. Yeah, I think
still
it was about. It was like 79.
And that was
or
the cheaper one you got, wasn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, hi everyone. Welcome back to another show. We never do that. I don't know why you do it.
We're not that far in. We could start it. Is it annoying?
No, I don't like that though.
Welcome back to another show. She's Ali Speechley.
Oh God, that's awful.
Isn't it?
That's how people started podcasting 200 years ago.
Yeah. Before we were born. What are we talking about today, Ali?
I don't know. Do you want to find out how your day was?
Oh, sorry.
Straight in. Steph is not messing about this week, everyone. She does not want to be in this room for a moment longer than necessary. Now, how was your day?
My day was... No, you stitched me up here.
You know what?
Word. Oh, no. You have stitched me up here. My day...
Stitch up. Should we just be honest?
Great. No, yeah.
Right, so everyone...
Oh, no. It's all a ruse. Go on then, you tell.
What happened was we couldn't record last week because Steph was ill.
I had a chest infection.
So we're actually just having to do back to back. So we didn't see each other that long ago, so that's why I don't really need to know how Steph's day was.
And we've changed our shirts. Ali's flipped her hair.
I mean, I was going to do that anyway because it was really annoying me.
I've changed my hair. We've changed the background. Rachel Unit's gone from the background.
Why are we just revealing all of this?
Effort. And
maybe we should start again.
To say this, no. I just think we want to be authentic, don't we? As we just discussed 10 minutes ago in the previous episode.
You know, it is what it is. To be honest, I needed a shirt change. It's like a professional at half time. That is broken.
It says 22 degrees.
Lies.
It does feel a little bit
sweaty.
warmer, doesn't it?
It's sweaty in here.
It's sweaty. How was your day?
I love that we went to all that effort and then we've just outed ourselves anyway.
This is the thing. We are honest.
We don't know how to lie.
No, I'd rarely
Rest
lie.
assured, everyone, what you hear and or see is what you get.
And if we don't say it...
this chair's annoying.
Oh. It's because there's like there's a lip of something pulled up.
Didn't mean to make that sound.
Right,
Apologies.
Let's crack on.
Right, let's get going.
We're talking about Matchday.
Matchday.
Everyone's favourite day of the week.
This is what it's been all been about.
Yeah.
This is what we've been working for, lads.
You know what? A little admission. When I was...
Can you remember, please?
I think I'm doing better already. When I was a kid, I used to absolutely dread Matchday. I used to... You know, like people would be like, please don't be waterlogged. I'd be like, please be waterlogged. Please something happen. Please don't have enough players. Please because I just couldn't handle the pressure of thinking I was going to be shit and I was going to make a mistake and all these things. I used to hate the thought of Matchday. And then when I'd get there, I would usually enjoy it. But Matchday for me was like, bleh.
Oh, bless you. I was like that when I was in my early 30s and I used to play Sunday League. I'd be like, oh, sorry everyone. Like the only time it annoyed me is if I'd already got ready.
But you'd leave it to the
But when I was in my bed,
yeah.
When I was lying in my bed on a Sunday morning and it was lashing it down outside and they were like, oh, sorry everyone, match has been postponed. I was like, yes, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not every week. Like there were some weeks where I was like, oh, I did actually fancy playing today. But, you can't always be on it. And I think it's a brilliant way to introduce a topic, actually, because your players are going to feel like that sometimes too.
That's the link I was hoping you'd make for me. Thank you.
Well,
we're just on a level, aren't we? We're the same height.
Steph,
we're actually on a level.
Wants to be taller than me, and I think she actually is marginally, but we've never measured ourselves because we're adults.
No,
so why would we do that?
But your brother wasn't in. Chris.
Alas,
here we are. Continue to
but anyway, so slightly obsessed with height. What size are your feet?
Between a 5 and a 6, usually a 5.
My feet are 6.5. How are we the same height? You may be slightly taller, and I've got bigger. Have I got clown's feet and no one's told me?
No, you actually haven't. Okay. You genuinely haven't. I would have said. But
anyway, back to Matchday.
Yeah, let's go back to Matchday.
Okay, so why are you crossing? You're mimicking my behaviour. I've crossed my arms to keep my hands busy.
We're the same height, so we should do the same things.
Oh God, weird. I've legit crossed, like folded my arms. You okay? I've folded my arms so that I don't caress the desk.
You also. Oh, let's talk about how you fold your arms later.
Oh well, I don't like doing that because I don't want to.
I quite like how you're holding yourself.
What up?
Like giving yourself a little hug. Sometimes I kiss myself if I feel shit.
I just did loads of poses then. As ever, if you're not watching the pod, what are you doing with your day?
Oh, God. Right. Matchday.
Matchday.
I imagine there are a lot of kids that feel like
and
that.
Adults.
And adults that feel like that. And actually, a great place to start is to say Matchday is meant to be a positive experience.
Yeah.
Shocking. Whatever
it's
level
supposed to
you're
be
at,
an
to be
extension of training, I think. Like as a coach, I always saw it as an extension of our week. So it's like, this is your time to shine, ballers. Like I'm not interfering here. I've done all my chatting in the sessions. Like, this is for you to play, go and show what you can do, show me what you've taken in from the sessions, show me what you've absolutely not. No jokes. But I always just used to say to my players, like, this is your time. Like, go and be creative, go and have fun with it. Enjoy yourselves, because if you're not enjoying yourselves, why are we here?
Ali, some might say we're here to win.
Oh, well, we are here to win, let's be honest. It's a competitive game. I'm a competitive person. And when they lost, I'd made them 2 laps. No, jokes. That is 100% a joke. I never, ever, ever made any of my players do laps. Oh no, I've moved my arms. We are. Well,
Yeah,
it depends on the environment. I think like yes and no. Like, and also define winning, define success. So
I'm defining it as a
winning the
numerical
game.
advantage in football.
Score more goals than the opposition. What? Look, I'm a Spurs fan. What's winning? I don't know. No, I think, first, like the thing is as well, because the players want to win as well. Let's not get it twisted. No matter what level of the game you're playing at, you would rather win than lose. And I think it's really important for coaches to make their peace with that, because I know some coaches that are like, yeah, but that's not the most important thing here. And it's like, for you, might not be for you, but for the players, actually, they put quite a lot on it, like emphasis on it. And that is part of being a coach, is managing those emotions around match day, because you're not going to win every game unless you're in the wrong league. Just saying.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because...
You sounded really defeated by that.
No, it's making me reflect, because sometimes I can be that coach.
Okay. Do you feel seen?
I feel seen. I do feel seen. I can be that coach where maybe it's because we don't win a lot. Where I'm like, oh, they don't want to win, but people do say to me, no, Steph, they want to win. They definitely want to win, and I just think they want to win because it's a competitive sport. They want to win because there are pressures all around them suggesting that they should be winning. And I think it's your role as a coach to, one, encourage win. I mean, can you imagine? We're not going to encourage drawing or encourage losing, but like push for winning, but build some context around what winning is and build out the definition of winning, and not put... So in the previous episode, when I was talking about my face on the sidelines, that is to not put everything on result, performance, winning, all of that.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, you're not going to get very far.
And also, it's just not enjoyable there. And I don't think it's enjoyable for anyone. I think you create stress for yourself as a coach, but you also create absolutely unnecessary stress, especially if you're coaching children. Like, it is stressful enough for them as it is. So you don't need to add any more stress. Like, the amount of intrinsic pressure that my players used to put on themselves on match day. Like, I didn't recognise them as players because I was like, oh, why has she done that? I've never seen her do that before. And it was just the pressure that she'd put herself under.
It's a really good point, though, about what... Obviously, the more you play, the more you get used to match day. But match day, like, if you're starting out, like, I don't know, people play games at under 6 now, under 7, whatever. It's a big occasion. Like, often you're going... Particularly if you're going away or whatever, you're going to places you're not familiar with.
Parking. What's the parking going to be like, Steph?
If you're a 6-year-old parking a car, you've never had any lessons.
Reverse parallel, mate. At 6 years old.
I know.
Shocker.
You've got people watching you, and then you feel like there's adult expectations on you. You're probably playing with your friends. You may be a bit embarrassed and unsure around them. You might be playing against your friends. You might be... And I think it's an occasion. Even if it is under 16 at home, you've been there a million times, it's still an occasion. So it's an occasion on various levels, but we need to understand that in the context of the players as well.
Yeah, and I think it's important to have those conversations with players away from match day, because they're in the moment and they're in their emotions on match day. So I think it's important in training sessions to reflect on a match day and to think about a match day coming up as part of your session, so that they can kind of feel better about it then. But I also think often when I coached girls, they were playing in boys' grassroots leagues. And I think that's a really important thing as well for anyone who is still coaching. Like, if you're coaching in an academy, girls' academy, your girls are probably playing boys more often than they're playing girls at this moment in time, depending on the age, obviously. But at the lower ages, they're still playing mostly in local boys' grassroots leagues. And that has a massive, like when we talk about social corner, it's just, and psychological, it's massive, because when you were just saying like they might be playing against their friends and stuff like that, like depending on the age group, when they're playing against boys, like depending on them as individuals, some girls will be like, I'm going to just be really aggressive because I want to show what I can do. And then like almost get fixated on that and not just let their skills do the talking. It just like, there's lots of dynamics at play there that we need to be aware of as coaches, so that for me, when I say to manage those situations, I think what I mean is to kind of let them happen because they need to happen, but also not like overreact on the touchline. I see a lot of overreaction on the touchline. I mean, we're going to do a whole episode on parents. So parents, brace yourselves, because you're going to feel seen and heard, because you are not quiet, even on silent weekends. But like, there's the whole like, I see a lot of overreaction from parents. We'll save that for that episode. But coaches, like, I've had to hold a co-coach back before. Embarrassing.
Yeah, I think sometimes what happens is, like, as adults, we go into situations and we're like, we're meant to manage this. And sometimes that's not you're meant to manage it in the sense that you're meant to make sure everyone's safe on match day and everyone knows what they're doing. You don't need to over-manage things so you don't allow things to happen or emotions to play out or things like that. But I just feel like when people go to football matches, whatever level they're at, it's like they have a personality transplant as soon as they like get out of the car. I think competition does things to people. I think it's about ego. I think it's about insecurities. I think it's about pressure. And we don't always get it right. And I think this, as coaches, it's really important to communicate with each other on a match day as well, and about match days, in advance of match days, of like, what are you managing on this day and what am I managing, and like, how are we going to play, like in the similar way that I said in session planning, like who's playing good cop, bad cop tonight. Like, I think you need to do that with matches as well, in terms of like, what are the roles and responsibilities that we've agreed to ahead of time for this match day. You can't predict everything that's going to come up. But because otherwise I felt like what often happened to me on match days was kind of similar as to what happened to me in sessions. If I was coaching with men, they'd just take over and they'd do all the stuff. Like, I've had guys like lean the tactics board against my leg. Really annoyed me. Like I was some sort of actual admin assistant. Do you know what I mean? Like, just there with the teas. Or just there with the orange slices. Like, I was just a mum and an extension of that. And I didn't get to do any of the like half-time tactical team talk stuff. What's happened there? Is it because I kicked that wire? Did you kick a wire? That must be exactly what it was.
I feel like I did that.
Yeah, stop kicking a wire.
Well, I just did it then. It didn't do it again though. Is the battery all right on that?
Yeah.
We'll find out. Anyway, yeah, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is to ensure that you as coaches get out of match day what you need to get out of it for your development as well. It's important to kind of discuss that with your co-coach.
Yeah, but I think as well it's important because there are so many elements to match day.
Yeah.
Like, I always go home from match day and I'm like, was I present then? Because I feel like there's just so much going on that you have to manage, from like the logistics of getting people there.
It's exhausting, match day.
Match days are really like adrenaline.
Like it is your whole day.
Yeah.
And it takes everything from you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's really important, again, to sort of acknowledge as coaches. Like, you don't have to keep pretending that, like, yeah, I can do that, and then I'm going to go off to this party, and then I'm going to do, like, it's okay to go, you know what, I'm tired because I coached today.
Yeah, because I manage that space. I definitely try and just coach now on the weekends. If I've got not on the weekends, we know I do a lot of things. I try and not do anything after I've coached a match, even though sometimes you have to.
You sound like such old women.
I
I mean, okay, thanks. I mean, I am.
Oh, that's not even what I was going to say. But right, Ali, talk us through what, like, if a match day was successful, what elements did it have for you?
I feel like, being completely honest, ideally you win.
Yeah.
Because I think whether you like it or not, your players do respond better to that. And so sometimes it's easier to think about the lessons when you've won, like when you go in your post-match reflection, but also when you go into the next training session.
And
but sorry.
No.
I was just going to say, but equally, what's complicated about that is that actually you learn more from your defeats. As a coach, I think you learn more from when they get it wrong, and you can go and analyse it. And if you have the luxury of video analysis and stuff like that, it's great because you can be like, oh, okay. And then it shapes what you might need to work on and blah, blah, blah. But I think for players, I think if they lose again and again and again, like, that's not fun for anyone. So I think success is winning, but it's also, rather than just winning the game, it's about, so say you'd worked on something specific in training that week, like creating overloads. Say you wanted to create as many 2v1s in the final third as possible, and you've got your game changers, not subs, but game changers.
Oh, very good.
You've tasked them with keeping score of how many overloads they create in the final third. And then you rally and you tally it up at the end, and you're like, yes, you did that 5 times in the first half, and then you did it 7 times in the second half. Like, that's a win, because we focused on that this week in training, and you've just executed it under pressure, in real conditions, in competitive environment. Like, I think it's about helping your players of any age and ability understand the wins within the win.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, because when you said, you lose and you can learn from what you didn't do so well, I suppose a lot of the time at grassroots, it's like, not how much can we learn from that, but I suppose in any league, sometimes it's inevitable that you're going to lose to a certain team or whatever, and therefore you need to go in with different expectations around it, or different ways to win, like you say, or like last time we lost 6-0 and this time we lost 2-0, and look how much we've improved in that way. But I was also thinking, I can't remember how many my team have lost on the bounce, but it's probably 10. It's probably 10.
But they're still there, and they must be
there.
enjoying it.
And that is because we have got other things around winning. But as a coach,
It's taking its toll on Steph.
Having to dig out a team talk at the end of when you've got like 15 distraught faces just looking up at you or whatever. It's really difficult.
Do you coach by yourself on a match day?
No, I have a co-coach with me, and sometimes he does it, sometimes I do it. Sometimes I just tell him to do it because I don't know.
You're like, I can't face it.
I'm like, I don't know what to say. It's really rough. So winning makes it easier for you as a coach as well, in that if you won, your players are like, yeah, we've won. You're like, cool, well done, great, thanks, see you training, chat about it then. If they're down at the end of it and you feel like you've got to pick them back up, or you've got to give them something, that's really challenging.
I think this is where, though, this is linked with parents as well, though. So I know we're going to talk about this separately, but it is, you have to try and manage that with them. Because, like, just thinking about match day specifically, I've had parents that, like, reward players with money for certain things, and I'm like, that doesn't actually help in some respects what we're trying to coach them.
What are the certain things? Winning or scoring a goal?
Yeah, like scoring a goal, this much for scoring a goal with your head, this much for scoring a goal with your so-called weaker foot, or like this much if you keep a clean sheet, or because let's take a goalkeeper, for example, like, such a pressured position, like completely unique. And your team could win, But if you've let in a goal, as a goalkeeper, you feel like, I'm glad we won, but I'm annoyed because I wanted that clean sheet. If you're a child goalkeeper and your parent has then told you that there's money attached to you keeping a clean sheet, I just feel like, again, like it just adds this unnecessary additional pressure.
Yeah.
For them to manage.
And then as soon as the ball's gone in the back of the net, they're like, I've lost the money, I've lost this.
Head's gone.
Head's gone. Yeah. I got actually some really good advice for goalkeepers on match day from someone called Lisa Cole, who was a former goalkeeper. And I think
shout out Lisa Cole.
She's a legend. She's just obsessed with goalkeeping, so just wants to talk about it all the time.
Love it.
But she said to me, she was talking about how goalkeeping is the loneliest place on the pitch. And she said on match days, your goalkeeper should not get the ball out of the net. Someone else on the team needs to step up every time, go and pick the ball out of the net for them. How powerful is that? Because because she said, obviously as a goalkeeper, if you're just repeatedly doing that, if someone on the team does it, they're saying, this is
on us. I love that. You know what? I actually wanted to go into position-specific coaching before I stopped coaching altogether. And I wanted to be a goalkeeper coach because I just think it's a fascinating position. And I think I've never played in goal. In fact, the only time I played in goal in the park once was when I injured my knee quite badly. But...
diving?
No, some guy who was on my team... who was like doing triathlons at the time, and that was like little me. The hard part of his kneecap went into the soft part of my knee.
What, like behind?
No, like
on the
there.
Oh, on the inner. She's gone on the inner.
It's bad times. But so what I'm trying to say is, other than that, I don't actually have any experience of playing in goal. But I do think I have skills as a coach that would really help me with coaching goalkeepers in terms of the psychological part of the game, and I could learn the rest.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't have the experience of having been there and done it, so I don't know how the players would feel about that. Having said that, I don't really have the experience of having been there and done it really outfield much because I wasn't allowed to play. So when I was younger, and then I only played for a little bit in my early 30s. So I still think you can gain trust from players, even if you haven't played at their level or whatever. But the point is, like, goalkeeping, I almost feel like you have to have a separate kind of management of your goalkeeper on a match day.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Another good tip, and then I will move on from Lisa. She told me is things like they have rituals around when they make a mistake. So you make a mistake, pick up the blade of grass, throw the blade away. That's it, mistake done.
Yeah.
On to the next one, something like that. But
a lot of goalkeepers like have a drink, don't they?
Or something
like
that. Yeah.
Just of their water,
have a drink.
not just down in shots.
Bring some whiskey.
What, the goalpost.
Child goalkeeper. But I think that's a really good point, is that as easy as it is for goalkeepers to get lost in training, it's really easy for goalkeepers to get lost on match day. They need a different kind of warm-up to outfield players.
Oh my gosh, Steph. The arguments I've had with co-coaches around a separate goalkeeper warm-up, you would not believe.
Of course they need a different warm-up. No one else is using their hands.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you want the first time your goalkeeper touches the ball with their hands to be in the game? No. I've had that argument at all levels of the game.
What? So
with a co-coach.
I think.
Oh, no, she'll be all right.
Exactly, but this is just how little importance you're putting on the position.
It's just that infuriates me. But again, this is what I'm saying. You have to have these open and honest conversations with your co-coaches, whether they're the lead coach, because that's what was always awkward for me, because it was the lead coach saying that, and I was like, son, or whether they're the assistant. You have to have that open and honest, like, communication channel. Or you've got to talk about these things.
Yeah, or at grassroots level with a parent. Like I'm definitely not saying I do the best by my goalkeeper on match days. I think it's something I can really work on. But we have a parent that regularly warms her up and looks into what needs to be done, or talks about what needs to be done.
Yeah,
or
great.
She tells him what she wants, like a consistent person, which is the point on the goalkeeper, but it's also the point about enlisting help on match day, which you're probably going to have to do,
Yeah.
even if you have two coaches there.
Yeah, for sure. And again, like having those conversations with the parents just to make sure they're kind of on track, like not saying anything crazy in that goalkeeper warm-up that you're like, those aren't the messages we give.
That's a really good point, actually, is and I've done it, or I've been like, oh, they're pretty cool. I'll just ask them if they can do this. Again, personality transplant. When doing something related to football, and I'm like, do I actually have to tell someone they maybe shouldn't say that, or we don't respond like that, or whatever. So get in early.
Yeah.
Set your stall out. Say this is how we do things. This is what we might say, what we might not say.
Yeah.
Remember that they're not experienced, so need some guidance.
Yeah.
Help them along that journey.
For sure, for sure. One of the other things I did with players on match days was have like individual match day objectives for them, and they would write them out. And it could be anything they wanted. I didn't say like, based on what we've done in training this week or whatever. I was just like, literally anything. It just has to be different to what you put last week.
And did they write them out like on the day at training before? Like when did they do it?
Well, when I did it, they would literally write it out in that, like on the day of the game. But you could do it any way that was best for your players. Like you could get them. I'd ask them to think about it before, like at the last training session. I'd be like, remember to think about your match day objectives. Because I think, again, linked to success, it just gave them an individual marker for, okay, so even if the team got battered or we drew or whatever, or even if we did win as a team, but how did I play as an individual? How did I contribute to that team performance? And it just gave them a bit of player ownership of like, so that they could think about their game. And also then it was quite useful. Again, like I always had this thing as a coach of like, I didn't want my game changers to just sit there passively, like just waiting to come on.
Yeah.
And so again, it's different in different environments because obviously if you have to, at any level, when they're children, you have to manage minutes. So you can't, well, you shouldn't anyway. You shouldn't just be leaving someone freezing cold on the touchline for the whole game. Be like, oh, you'll play next week.
Impact sub. I'll put you on those 5 minutes.
Gosh, yeah, like
only if we're winning or like those.
Yeah, like you have to rotate and you have to rotate fairly. And parents will always argue with you that their child has not had as many minutes as someone else's child, even when you've kept a record of it and you know for a fact that that's not true. They'll still argue that anyway. Okay, fine. But it is important to rotate players and so that it's fair, so that the minutes across the season are fair.
I would say as well, and it does depend on your club's ethos, but rotating means not always starting the same
100%
lineup. And
because 83%, I've got to stop saying 100%.
83%?
I actually hate my...
What's the 17% that's wrong with my statement?
Nothing, but I just had to pluck another number.
99.9.
Well, I feel like we need... So every time we say journey, I go ching, and it's because we've got this imaginary that we are keeping track of, but it's basically a pound coin or whatever, and we're gonna add it up at the end of the season and go on the piss. No, and give it to charity.
Neither of us drink.
Get their old Ribenas in. Lads. And we'll give it to charity. But I think we should also have a something separate for me when I say 100 or 100%.
Well, we're going to have to find me something as well then.
For what? Book.
But that's just my voice.
Yeah. No, only joking. For what? What do you do consistently that you hate yourself for?
That's what I'm wondering. I'm really going to look.
I don't think we have to find you something.
Well, if we stumble on it, just give me a wink.
Okay. Probably leaning away from that mic.
I know, but have you noticed how hard I'm trying?
Yeah.
Straining my neck.
Points for effort.
Thank you.
Anyway, 100 to whatever you were saying.
No, I was saying rotating starting lineup because the last thing you want is a kid turning up on a Saturday or a Sunday or whatever, and their automatic thought is, well, I obviously won't be starting.
Yeah. Horrible.
We don't need that. And, I obviously don't start because they think that players better than me.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, kids don't need that. And it's really obvious the way players get better is by playing. So we got to give them the time to actually do that.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to, like, it's hard as a coach sometimes on match days to sort of stick to your guns and like stand, but like trust the process. But don't be afraid to trust your process because you know what you're working towards. I remember at a club, I introduced this thing that became known as the orange sock, but it was just because that was the colour of the spare kit that they happened to have at the club that season. But I basically got my players to wear this orange sock, so their other socks were navy, wear this orange sock on their so-called weaker foot. And we did it in training. And it was like a sort of visual reminder of like, yeah, remember, you have got 2 feet. Like, use this as well. And then another coach said to me, oh, you're not going to make them do it on match day though, are you? And I was like, yeah. Because like I've said, to me, match day is an extension, is part of the program. If you think of the season as a program, like a syllabus, a program of work, match day is part of that program. It's part of that learning journey. Oh, gosh.
No, but you did it on purpose.
Ching.
You 100% did it on purpose.
Well, good, fair play on the charity that's going to get all the cash monies. No, it is. It's a player journey.
Is it when you say you have to pay, when I say I have to pay?
Yeah, but I may as well just write the check now, innit? Write a check.
Oh,
when was the last time you wrote a check? Anyway. Anyway, so I said, yeah, of course. And I discussed it with the players as well, because I didn't want to do anything that was going to make them feel awful. But they were like, yeah, no, we should wear these on match day. Like, it's going to help us in the same way that it helps us in training. And one of my favourite coaching memories ever is this girl ran over to me, Millie, and she was like, in a game, she was like, Ali, I scored with my orange sock. And like the Euphoria, that's a win. That is a win in a match day, not just for her, but for me and the whole team. So like, you know, as a coach, what you're trying to do. It's ideally you have communicated that with the parents as well, so that they're on board. But ultimately you just have to keep going with what you're working on, but also be critical of it and reflect on it. And if it's really not working, then obviously you need to change. But I think sometimes match day really puts you under pressure. It tests you as a coach to be like, oh, okay, I'll just throw on that player because I know there'll be an impact sub. And
I was going to say to you, like when you said sticking to your guns, it's like, oh, it's 2, I don't know, it's 1-1 and we've got.
I've done it in a tournament
and
before.
My best striker's on the bench. I've done it.
I've done it in a tournament before. No, as in I've brought on a player. We're winning, and I've brought on a player who I know
will hold out for the win.
No, will put that win in jeopardy.
Risk. Yeah,
but she needs the minutes, and she deserves the minutes, and we lost. It didn't go down well with some of the parents or some of the players, but rightly or wrongly, I did it.
So what we do, so I do chart.
I thought you were going to say I do charge.
I do charge.
I do charge the goalkeeper per goal let in.
Yeah.
So
I don't charge enough, to be fair. But no, I charge. Oh, Ali, I chart over the course of the season. Appearances, how many times they were captain, because we rotate the captaincy, minutes and stuff. We used to go in with like like the equal minute vision, whatever wasn't working well enough. So now we have a spreadsheet and we go quarter by quarter. These are the things we're going to make. Every week someone drops out. Can we do it? No. You got to change it every time. But just the principle of actually setting that out and planning that out, I think is really important, because I think if you show up on match day like everyone's going to get equal minutes, it's going to be fine.
Oh no, you've got to record it, because the parents are recording it. They're keeping note, I promise you. So you have to. It's the only way to do it, because you will forget. You can't retain all of that information in your head.
And then over the course of the season, you're not going to remember that. So it's really important to do that.
Yeah.
I think. You want me to do it, don't you?
Do what?
Well, you want to do your thing.
Oh, well, actually, I was just going to say, for me, one of the most important parts of Matchday is letting players play.
Yeah.
Like, similarly, linked to my whole beef with playing in a session as a coach, like, it's not about you on the touchline as a coach. It is about them on the pitch as players. You can't step over that touchline. Like, that is their space. I always was a coach who sort of encouraged and maybe did a bit of a Q&A, ironically. But, like, rather than telling them... like, what are you doing? What are you going McDonald's after? Oh, only if we win. All right, sure. No, like, if they... Rather than saying, like, you need to be there, like, or step there, or da-da-da, I'd be like, Kelly... I never coached anyone called Kelly, but I'm just going with it. Kelly, like, have a think about, and I'd ask the question about the mistake that she was consistently making, just to literally get her to think about it. And then you see immediate impact. You see the immediate change there. But I haven't stood there going, what are you doing? What are you playing at? You need to be there when she does that. You've got to move around here. Because, no, that doesn't actually help them learn. And also... if you ask the question and they show you the solution, you see that they have understood. If you tell them what to do, you will never, ever, ever, ever know whether that's because they knew to do that or they did it because you told them to do it.
I think I'm probably going to go on a rant.
I'll sit back.
You have a little break. It's so simple, but I'm going to say it. You cannot see through the player's eyes. The perspective you have on the game is completely different to every single player. The player in possession of the ball is always best placed to make the best decision because they can actually see what the situation is. And by shouting at them, do this, do that, because you think you know what's best, you've taken away that opportunity for them to make the decision and to make the mistake if they need to, because they're going to learn far easier by making the mistake.
Preach.
Thank you very much.
Also, linked to that, I've got no problem with teammates communicating to help that player on the ball.
Again, if it's done the right way. Yes.
But I'm not telling them what to do from the touchline. That's not my style.
It's not my style either. I will give encouragement, praise or encouragement. So well done. Encouragement as in keep going, keep your head up. Like you said, sometimes questioning or sometimes a little like, next time, think about having a look over your shoulder, that Max thing. And the slightest bit of tactical as in, maybe to my centre back, your line's a bit high, think about dropping it. That is the absolute maximum.
Yeah. And I know that there'll be coaches listening to this thinking, that's all very well and good if you're coaching like 7-year-olds down the park. But what about if you're I still stand by it at other levels of the game. Again, though, how do you know that they know to do that? Or they've just done it because you've told them? And you're just constantly going to have to pull all those strings for every single player. Yeah. You watch elite managers do it on the touchline in the Premier League, and I'm like, you're going to have like vocal surgery.
And ultimately, we don't want them to be with us forever as players. We want them to go in and play for other people. And if all they know what to do is respond to us, how are they ever going to continue in football environments?
There you go.
But a parent said a really good thing to me once. They say good things to me all the time, but in this particular instance,
17 years ago.
Yeah, one parent. She said, I don't walk into my child's maths class and start going, what are you doing? Put that there. What are you wrong? Blah, blah, blah. So why would I...
Sean Dyche said that, didn't he? Sean Dyche.
I don't think she's got it from there, but...
it did the rounds, didn't it, on social...
So why are we doing that in football?
Yeah. Speaking of social media, Steph.
Oh, right. You know what? I'll prep
social media!
Ali...
Everyone's just switched off.
That's the thing. That's what we've been waiting for all this time, and you just didn't even pause.
I can't do it again. It's a one-time only.
Right. What is it?
What is what?
This little segment. of an orange.
You making me do it again?
No, just tell us what the segment is.
It's right. So social media, because we thought about doing a whole episode on social media, and then we were like, can we long it out? We're not sure we got the minutes. Turns out, I mean, we're already 45 into this one, so I actually think we would have breezed it.
We might in future.
We might. But we feel like social media is quite an important part of coaching because there's so much out there, good and bad. We both feel like social media can be very influential for good and bad reasons as to how people coach and why, and sometimes why people coach. And so we wanted to have a little look on social media. Don't worry, we're not going to name and shame anyone. Well, we don't know. It might take a turn. No, we're not going to name and shame anyone. We've just going to try and come up with, we're just going to have a little browse of social media each episode and see if there's anything that kind of piques our interest. And Steph reckons she's got something for me this week. I'm very excited.
I do.
Oh.
It's linked to what we've been talking about.
Well,
I'm going to try and paraphrase. Essentially, someone is talking about rotation policy, but not necessarily rotation on the day. Rotation as in squad, who do you take to match day? How many should you have in a squad? How many subs is too many? That kind of thing. How many's too little? What's your thoughts?
I mean, squad size is always a tricky one, actually, because you can't predict illness and injury.
The two eyes.
Right.
Double eye.
It's just gold. It's just gold on this pod.
Double eye. I can't properly laugh because I've got a little cough stuck.
Okay, just don't worry, everyone. She's fine. So squad size is always, it's always a tricky one because you can't predict illness and injury. If your squad's too small, you're screwed on match day. If it's too big, you're also screwed on match day because you've got 17 game changers. And you've got to manage all of that. I think depending on or equally, obviously, it depends if you're playing 9v9, 11v11, whatever format you're playing. But I think at 9v9, we used to take 12 to match day.
So 3 game changers.
3 game changers. And in some places, they used to have a standby list in case someone dropped out. And that doesn't always work, obviously, because you've got a life to live. But yeah, we always used to keep it around 12 for the game day squad. And I think the full squad was 14 players. That's what we were looking at with 9v9. However, and I'm not saying those are your numbers set in stone, do what works for you. But I do think anything beyond 3 game changers gets a little bit. However, I can't remember what I was going to say. It sounded like it was going to be really poignant.
I thought it was going to be clip worthy.
Yeah, sorry. It'll come back to me.
I did actually just write an article on this. I'm really trying to think about what I said in it. I think I said there's the basics around it sounds basic, but you need to look into what your league says about how many players you can register in a squad.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to overpromise people.
For sure.
I think I said it depends on the time of year. So.
Oh, no, okay, because of weather.
Weather.
Yeah.
If you know it's absolutely boiling and your players are going to be at their physical limit, you might want to take more subs. Mm-hmm. If you know it's freezing, you don't want people sitting around, you might want to take less subs. Depends on your players. You might have some players that are always up for playing a full game. You might have some players that are easing into it, only want to play for 20 minutes and then build up. So how can you balance that out? I had some really good other points, but essentially I landed on 3 subs was always my preferred thing. But what that then comes down to is really effective communication of, this is how many we take on a match day. This is why we do it. This is, how many games you might miss over the course of the season because we're going to rotate.
Yeah.
All those kind of things, and just setting your stall out.
And also being adaptable as well. So if a player was supposed to be in the squad that week, but they're ill, okay, so we'll try and work it out so that at another point in the season you're in the squad when maybe you weren't supposed to be. But that's why keeping a record of who's ill, who played, who didn't, how many minutes they played, whether they started or not. That's why all that's really important. We can link to your article.
We can link to my article. Why don't you give it a little review and a read and tell me? I started this new thing with Ali. Do you know what I'm going to say?
I don't have a clue. I'm terrified.
No, because sometimes I send you things and now I say, I'm sending you this and I actually want you to look at it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Sorry.
You can review it and you can think of it if you think it's valid advice.
If I think it's link-worthy.
If you think it's link-worthy, let's link to it.
Amazing. I'm sure it is. I've never read anything by yours and thought, what is she on about?
Oh, that's good.
I've never read anything by yours.
Oh, God. Do you want the second one?
Yeah, go on then. Oh, my glasses keep coming into, my eyelashes keep sticking to my glasses.
My glasses.
Because of these headphones.
Again, kind of linked. Tournaments. We could have a full episode on tournament.
The
tournament,
drama.
Camps, any long-term commitment, 6 hours a day.
Anything over a 90-minute training session or a match, the length of whatever match length you play. Anything beyond that is an ask. Pay me double.
That is just life management, really, on that. Anyway, this person is taking a couple of teams to a tournament.
Okay.
And the ways, I feel I've had something on my lip this whole time. The way they are splitting the teams is to have a strong team, so they go as far as possible, and a not so strong team.
A team, B team.
A team, B team, rather than mixing the teams up.
Okay.
Actually, I'm not going to say what the phrasing was. What is your context under 12s team?
Okay.
Grassroots.
Also, sometimes in some tournaments, they have different ability levels. Which I think is great because then it gives you the opportunity to enter what we're effectively calling an A team and a B team. We know what we mean by that. I know some parents are going to get very upset by that.
Can I tell you a funny story about it?
Why not?
Oh, and
that's why we're here.
This goes to, oh God, I was coaching this camp. It was 30 degrees.
I feel like I want to do on film where it's waves.
Yeah. Flashback.
Here she is.
Here I am coaching this camp. 3 years younger than I am now. It was an under 8s group, 30 degrees. I don't usually work with kids that young, and I'm not a shouter. It's the only time I've ever screamed, because I lost my temper.
I love that you screamed. You didn't shout. You screamed.
A scream for me is probably this. I do have problems using my voice. Anyway, A team, B team. I was team A, team B, and it wasn't. In terms of you're better than you, I play this game, which I now know is called cat or rat, because my players taught me. They go back to back, one side's cat, one side's rat. They've got a cone they've got to run to. You scream cat or rat. The cat or the rat's got to get across without them chasing them. I didn't know what this game was called, so I was A and B. How boring for a group of under 8s.
Didn't even do colours or anything.
Someone starts crying because they're on the B team. Then another kid has an idea. What about A and 1? Because they're both top of the chain.
Oh, cutie.
Very cute. Absolutely not. Wouldn't do that. Then I was right, okay, animals. I'm starting to adapt to the fact I'm coaching kids. I was let's do animals then. Dog, cat.
Dogs are better than cats.
Someone's dog had died, hadn't it?
Oh my gosh, Steph, you had a shocker.
Exactly. And it just kept going. Another one did another animal.
Just
but
colours.
I don't even like monkeys.
Just colours. They'd have probably found a problem with colours.
They would have. And it was 30 degrees and they were stressed and I was stressed. And it was just a horrible...
Were you like, look, I don't even get paid to do this?
Yeah. I was like, if you don't want to be here, just go. Just reverse park your way out of here, you 6-year-old. What was my point? Oh,
no one knows.
I genuinely don't. We're talking about A and B team at tournaments.
Yeah. Oh, so is it back to me now?
It was your...
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I think so some tournaments have different ability levels, which is great because it allows for everyone to get equal game time and that kind of stuff.
It's a really nice way to do a tournament.
Yeah, I think I'm all for it. Tournament organisers, ability levels, make sure you get that sorted. However, if you are entering in to a tournament and then potentially those teams might play each other, so they train together.
What a great point.
And then they might come up against each other. Like, think about that. I think, though, ultimately, depends on, like, what your club is about. Because, and sorry, I know that sounds like a proper cop-out answer, but the thing is that my most recent experience of coaching was in an academy, so I'm inclined to say it's a competitive sport. You're not always going to get chosen. You're not always going to be like the higher up you go in the game, even in terms of if you're already at the elite level in an academy. But the older you get, you're not always going to start. You're not going to get equal minutes. You reach a certain age group where you don't get equal minutes anymore, and you start if you're good enough. That's the reality of this game. It is a competitive sport. However, if you're in like a community group and it's all just about, unicorns and rainbows and good times, which I have nothing against, I love that, then you just need to think about, is there maybe another tournament that you could enter? Or I'm not saying don't do it. You could do an A team and a B team. I think you do need to communicate that early to players and parents. To manage expectations.
Yeah. I do think you're right. It comes down to like what your ethos is or whatever. Like from my perspective, my ethos is about equal game time, and I don't want any player to ever think that I've chosen another over them, so I wouldn't make that decision. I would split them out equally, look at positions, whatever, and make sure we were covered on both sides. What you can also do in a tournament is be like, oh, it's a chance to try things, for these players to work together, for these players to get to know each other, figure out how that works.
So I would challenge that only because when you are in a tournament is a very competitive space at any ability level. It's still it's a competition. You're trying to win the tournament. So I actually think this coach who's saying like about A&T, I think they have got that right in the sense that I wouldn't personally mix the ability levels within those teams because I think that will lead to tears in the tournament.
Tears in the tournament?
Guys.
That's great.
Your
autobiography.
This is free. Oh, yeah, great. Probably. Tears on the touchline. Anyway, that's another episode. I just feel like you're setting yourself up for issues in the tournament then, because say you've got a couple of players from the B team in an A team, and then say you are only as strong as your weakest link. So the play will break down with those players inevitably. And then in a competitive environment, as nice as those A team players may be, they might turn on those B team players and be like, oh, because they'll get frustrated with them because they're there to win. Why have I got to play with these bozos, So I'm not saying don't do it, but you then need to be prepared for the fact that might happen and you're going to have to manage that.
I think if you do it the other way, you've also got to be prepared, because if they're playing together anyway, because a lot of the times what happens is you'll have say you play 11s, you might go to a 7-a-side tournament, you take 2 squads. If they're playing together anyway, they manage that. I just think if you take a really strong team and then what you perceive as a weak team, you're going to have to manage like the high of the strong team potentially when they win, and then the weak team being like distraught or whatever.
But also potentially the weak team might, that's what I'm saying, if you go to a tournament where there's ability levels, the weak team might win in their category and the strong team might get dashed in the first round.
I mean, I think it's important that we don't always agree.
It is totally down to like the environment, though, isn't it?
That's the thing about coaching. So much of it, and that's probably a really good thing to end on when we're talking about social media. Is so much of it is case by case.
Yeah, and it's opinion and it's perspective, and what I'm not saying I'm right. You're not saying you're right. Like,
well, I am, but
neither of us are wrong. But like, it's great to discuss these things.
It is, and you've actually given me like most of the things we discussed a new perspective on it.
Likewise. Well, I don't know what that is. I don't want to get involved.
Do you want to do a little creepy?
No. Again, for anyone not watching, they really don't know what's happening now. Social media.
Oh, you did it. That was quite good.
Thanks.
I'm so hungry.
Are you? Me too.
Halfway through it hit me that I was hungry.
I was like, oh, we got to do another one.
Can we get a snack?
And you what? Then looking like a snack.